Hey guys, Ryan here. In what may be a channel first, I'm going to talk about some tips and secret little things you probably didn't know about mouse and keyboard aiming and try and help you get better at it. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is going to be a setting you need to change pretty much immediately. And that setting that I just mentioned, that's going to be to change your ADS settings. And then the other two things are going to be more gameplay related. So this is actually one of the easier settings to find. All you're going to do is just go to the mouse and keyboard section and then just go to that little ADS thing, click on the show more, and you're going to see this ADS sensitivity transition timing. I didn't want to put that in that little first title thing because that's a mouthful, but it's defaulted to gradual and you actually want to have it on instant. By changing this, you're going to win a lot more close range gunfights. The pistol fights are going to feel a lot better. The gulag is going to feel a lot easier to win because this setting is on this gradual as default, as I said, and this causes your aim to feel sluggish and not right. So this is where you just need to go to settings, change it from gradual to instant, and that's all you need to do. So moving on from there and going to the second topic, we're going to talk about how you need to learn if you aim with your arm or if you aim with your wrist. The easiest way to test this is go into a firing range or a game and do a 90 degree or 180 degree swipe to try and see how you aim. If you just only use your wrist, well, that means you're a wrist aimer. If you use your full arm and you're using your actual forearm and everything like that, well, then you're an arm aimer. And you're probably wondering, well, what's the big deal between the two? What's the difference? And there's actually a pretty big one. Because if you're a wrist aimer, like myself, you're probably going to use faster sensitivities, and it's also going to change how I want to position my arm on my desk. People who would consider themselves arm aimers really want to make sure that their elbow is locked to some type of surface while they're playing. Whether that's their desk, a chair that's at a similar height to their desk, or whatever, they just want to make sure that their elbow is planted to make sure their arm has a good pivot point to act as an easy way for them to aim. However, when you're a wrist aimer, you don't want your elbow locked to any surface because this is going to restrict your wrist. It's going to make it more easy for you to arm aim. And if you're a wrist aimer, you don't want that. So what you usually want is to have your arm on the desk a lot. And you just want to have your elbow hanging off just a little bit. And this is what I found gives me the best aim on mouse and keyboard. So moving on from there into the third and final topic. And that's going to be that aiming fundamentals are universal. It doesn't matter if you're using controller, if you're using mouse and keyboard, if you're playing Warzone, Apex, Valorant, Escape from Tarkov, PUBG, it really doesn't matter. Aiming fundamentals, those core key things like tracking, centering, and your ability to flick onto people, those are transferable to other games. They're transferable from controller to mouse and keyboard. Okay, not if you learn how to be good at mouse and keyboard can you know how to do it on controller, but the whole concept is very similar and you need to just learn these skills and work on improving them if you really want to get better overall. So let me show you in the background right now examples of the three core fundamentals. The first is going to be tracking. If you look in the background at me shooting this guy falling, look at how I track where he's at, how he's falling, and that's how I end up getting the kill. This can apply to close range situations as well as far range situations, but this right here is one of the three main core skills that makes up the fundamentals of aiming, and the second one is going to be centering. So centering is probably the most important skill to learn and the easiest to learn, but it's simply just putting your crosshair where your enemies are by pre-aiming or by just hip firing and having your crosshair on them. If you're watching the background clip, I just pre-aim where they're at, they walk into my sight, I get a very easy kill, and that's just one of the easiest ways to get a lot of kills and improve your aim. And lastly, the third and last fundamental of aiming is going to be your ability to flick onto people. If you look in the background clip, I'm going to get shot from the side, I'm going to look away, then I'm just going to snap onto my target, find them, and then I'm going to end up going through this gunfight and killing them using my centering and tracking and yada yada. But the main thing is flicking is the opposite of centering. Flicking is your ability to get onto targets that you are not centered on, that you are not currently tracking, and are not in your current sight. That is, or they can be in your sight, but the main thing is they just aren't where you're looking at with your gun and with your crosshair. And the whole reason I took the time to explain these three fundamentals of aiming, as I keep saying over and over, as I'm probably sure it's getting a little tiring, but the reason I keep explaining this is because everyone's a little stronger in different areas. They're a little weaker in some areas, and people don't realize this. Once I realized this, it was a lot easier to change the things I was bad at. One of my strengths as a mouse and keyboard player is my ability to be accurate with little micro flicks. People can just be a little bit away and I can hit a nice little micro adjustment that's going to put my sight on target and get me the kill, and that's something that I have as a skill. However, my centering on mouse and keyboard, especially compared to my cell phone controller, was 100% lacking. And I didn't realize this until I started watching my gameplay, until I started thinking about my mouse and keyboard aim versus my controller aim and what I was doing differently. I think one of the hardest things about improving at anything really is you just have to know what to improve at if you really want to get better. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get across right here in this little section. Once you know what you actually have to improve at, because you actually understand what you're strong at and what you're weak at, it's going to be a lot easier for you to actually improve and implement these things into your gameplay. I'm going to start wrapping this video up, but I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys like the mouse and keyboard content. I plan on making more videos like this because I do play both controller and mouse and keyboard, and I want to help people get better at both, and I also just want to understand how to help both when it comes to movement and everything like that. Anyways guys, as I said before, it's been Ryan. I hope you have a good day. Peace.